life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly.
Hey guys, welcome to another fun-filled episode of Bluray Junkies. Today we're having our third episode of our actor-director spotlight. Today we're going to be talking about the one and only, the Hollywood legend, Gene Wilder. And guys, with this video, it's going to be a little bit longer than usual. It's honestly going to be about 30 or 40 minutes because there's just so much information about Gene Wilder. We're going to start with how he got into acting, with his Broadway acting. Then we're going to move into his film career, his directorial career. We're going to discuss about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and also about his distaste for Tim Burton's remake to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We're also going to talk about his other classic movies such as Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. Again, we're going to talk about his directorial debuts. So if you're a film fanatic like we are, you're definitely going to enjoy this episode.
If you truly wish to be.
As we all know, Gene Wilder, one of cinematic, iconic actors and writers, passed away this year from Alzheimer's. Wilder established himself as one of America's top actors and writers in both comedic and also dramatic roles with his numerous performances on and off the silver screen. However, guys, when we were doing research for this video, we realized he has less than 40 films to his name. So we started thinking, with less than 40 credits to his name, well, what made Gene Wilder such an icon, not just in Hollywood, but also in the hearts of moviegoers around the world? And that's what we're going to be focusing on this third episode of our Actor-Director Spotlight series. So sit back, relax, but don't get too relaxed, and join us on this journey into the mind and career of Gene Wilder. Jerome Silberman, or as we all know him by his screen name, Gene Wilder, was born on June 11th, 1933 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to parents William and Janine Silberman, who both originated from Russia from Jewish descendants. Gene grew up with his sister Corinne, helping their parents working on their local business they owned, manufacturing whiskey and beer bottles for various brewing companies. As far as any other siblings or any more information about his sister, we weren't able to find much at all. And besides her name, I couldn't even find her age or any more info on his sister or any other relatives. So guys, if anyone out there that's watching this knows any more information about Gene Wilder's siblings or other relatives, please let us know by leaving your comments down below. When Gene was 8 years old, his mother fell ill with complications from a heart disease. The family doctor warned Gene not to cause any extra stress from her, but lighten her load and make her laugh. His training for the theater really started at age 8 when he found his niche for comedy, making his mother laugh using various funny accents, telling funny stories, jokes, and graduating more to physical comedy as he got older. His mother said that Gene was such a joy and very sweet as he grew up. She always said he literally saved her life through humor. When Gene was a teenager, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do with his life, and he decided to join the military of all things and moved from his home from Milwaukee to a California academy. However, Gene Wilder said that he quickly realized this just wasn't for him. He just didn't fit in or agree with the standards of the military academy. So he was discharged from the academy and moved back home to Milwaukee, where he saw a school play, and he was immediately hooked. He was attracted to it, and he quickly realized, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to act, and that was his calling. He quickly dug deep in studying acting and became heavily involved with the local theater scene, studying theatrics and drama, but his strong suit was, of course, as we all know, comedy. His teacher soon felt Gene was ready to take on the stage, and he made his stage debut cast as Belshazzar in Romeo and Juliet. The play had great reviews, but most notably everybody really noticed Gene Wilder's strong presence. and he became the talk of the town, and he starred in various plays, all with glowing reviews for his comedic timing, his acting ability, and his strong stage presence. He was such a natural at this and became more and more hungrier for bigger and better things with his ultimate goal of going to Hollywood. But he knew he also had a ways to go. I mean, his passion for acting moved him to a theater school in Bristol, United Kingdom, where he spent a couple years studying theater arts and communication. He returned home to the United States, enrolled in the famous Stanislavski School of Method Acting when he was drafted in the Army. Wilder never went into combat though. Instead, he worked as a medic for 2 years in a Pennsylvania hospital for returning soldiers. However, during this time, he really started craving acting because he wasn't able to do it. And you know, when you have a passion for something and you don't do it, you want to do it more and more and more, so you don't lose that craving. And sometimes that craving gets more and more intense. And this is exactly what happened to Gene Wilder. So because of this, he constantly studied acting and studied some of his favorite films where he learned the art of writing comedy. After he was discharged, Wilder then moved to New York City. He wasn't able to afford to enroll in a theater school at the time, so instead he took various odd jobs, including a position as a fencing teacher. A fencing teacher? Of all things? Odd. However, guys, it's not odd when you learn that Gene Wilder learned how to fence at an early age and graduated at the top of his class. Fencing, he always said that fencing was his other passion. The teaching job gave him the money he needed to support his schooling, where he would study acting and writing and theater arts at night, and while he taught fencing during the day and on the weekends. At age 26, Wilder fell in love with the reading of Macbeth and he decided to take the plunge and audition for the play a school was putting on. Well, he won the part as the lead. However, he also decided that seeing his name on the marquee as starring Jerry Silberman as Macbeth, he felt it just didn't really match and wouldn't attract a wide audience. So he decided on a stage name that had more of an average sounding name. He read a novel by Thomas Wolfe, and one of the main characters in that novel was named Gene, and his favorite playwright author was Thornton Wilder. Hence, he smashed the two names together, and Gene Wilder was born. Macbeth was a huge success for him. He started appearing as a regular on both Broadway and off-Broadway shows. In 1963, he was in a Broadway production of Mother Courage and Her Children, and this is where he met Anne Bancroft. They both hit it off, and Bancroft introduced him to her then boyfriend, Mel Brooks. Wilder and Brooks immediately hit it off. They became close, fast friends. Wilder and Brooks later stated they felt like they were fleshly brothers. They were so close and had so much in common. Brooks started directing stage plays, and he was in the middle of writing one of his biggest Broadway productions named The Producers. However, Mel Brooks was kind of getting stuck on some various parts of the script, so he enlisted the help of his best friend Gene Wilder, and he also casted him in the play as Leo Bloom, who was later played by Matthew Broderick in the really less loved 2005 film remake of The Producers, which, oh boy, if you haven't seen that, just throw that away. Put it down The play was a smash, and again, Wilder was the highlight of the production. On opening night, the play received a standing ovation, and Wilder received a 10-minute standing ovation for his performance. He was now the hottest Broadway actor and writer. At the time, Mel Brooks opened his production company, Stock Company, to start writing, producing, and directing feature films. This is where Wilder met various Hollywood executives and producers through Brooks's film company. Hollywood started to see the natural, raw talent Wilder had, and he was also very comfortable in front of the camera. Now guys, this isn't always an easy thing to do. Many times actors who are stage performers find it really uncomfortable and hard to transition from life on the live setting of a stage production to a more secluded setting in front of cameras in Hollywood. It's not an easy transition to make. However, Wilder was a natural at it. He took to film production immediately with his feature film debut as Eugene Gizzard in the 1967 film Bonnie and Clyde.
I'm from Wisconsin originally. Where the cheese comes from.
Oh, but he just loves Texas now. Don't you, Eugene?
Go sell that cow.
Hey, how old are you, honey?
I'm 33.
And after his breakout performance in Bonnie and Clyde, he then starred in the film adaptation to Mel Brooks' stage play of The Producers, which was also Mel Brooks' debut as a feature film director. The movie won Mel Brooks the Oscar for Best Screenplay, and Wilder received his first Academy Award nomination as Best Supporting Actor.
I want everything I've ever seen in the movies.
Leo, say you'll join me.
I'll do it. My God, I'll do it.
He'll do it.
Brooks and Wilder would go on to make and co-write 2 more feature films together with the classic masterpieces Blazing Saddles and one of our personal favorites, Young Frankenstein, which, as we all both know, are movie comedy classics. They are masterpieces in gold, and we'll be discussing those 2 movies a little bit later. Gene Wilder went on to star in 7 more films, including hits like Woody Allen's Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex But Was Afraid to Ask, to Silver Streak, and of course Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when he started to really love the filmmaking process and wanted to direct films himself. His directorial debut was The World's Greatest Lover in 1977. However, the film was a devastating financial box office bomb, not even earning half its budget back, and it received very poor reviews. Wilder was, of course, bummed out about this, but then he thought about it and credited this to his multiple jobs on the production. He was not only the director, which is a huge job on its own, but he was also the main producer, the main screenwriter. He wrote all the songs, and on top of all that, he casted himself as the lead. I mean, just directing a movie alone is a heavy responsibility and stress. I can't imagine what it's like taking on multiple roles like this. However, his next 2 films he directed, 1984, The Woman in Red, and 1986, Haunted Honeymoon, he focused more only on directing, acting, and co-writing, and they both fared much better at the box office. They were moderate successes with praise from critics and moviegoers. But now, guys, I want to travel back to 1971. That's right, guys, the all-time family classic, and in our opinion, the masterpiece from Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now, guys, in the beginning of this video, I talked about how Wilder changed Willy Wonka's entrance, and in the script, Wonka never had a limp, or much less even walked with a cane. After reading the script, Gene Wilder loved it. However, before he took the role, he had one condition. That would be Wonka would be allowed to walk with a limp as he greets the families and his guests. Then his cane would get stuck in the cobblestones and he would lose his balance and would fall, but instead of just falling down the ground, he would roll into a somersault. When Wilder told director Mel Stewart about this, Stewart asks, "Why on earth would you want to do this as Wonka's introduction? It makes no sense." Wilder replied, "Having Wonka do this meant that from that time onward, no one would know if I'm lying or telling the truth throughout this journey, meaning I would be completely unpredictable as Willy Wonka." Stewart was completely blown away by this response, calling Gene Wilder a genius. Needless to say, Stewart agreed, and this was the outcome to one of the greatest intros in film history. Willy Wonka became an instant classic with huge praise from critics, from moviegoers, and this became his big break when he earned his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor, which led him to really create his own path in film. He was able to choose his own projects. Wilder completely embodied the character of Wonka, bringing to life this weird and wild character, and it solidified Wilder into a leading man status. Gene Wilder has stated this is his most beloved film out of all of his films. And, you know, Tim Burton did a remake of Willy Wonka. You know, how I feel about it is pretty much how Gene Wilder felt about it. I found this interview Gene Wilder gave about the remake to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
I think it's an insult. And it's probably Warner Brothers' insult, I think. I like Warner Brothers for other reasons, but to do that with Johnny Depp, who I think is a good actor, and I like him, but I don't care for that director. And he's a talented man, but I don't care for him for doing stuff like he did.
And I have to say, I pretty much agree with what he has to say. Now, despite Wilder's success after Willy Wonka, none of his films met with the same commercial success, and of course, this really started to frighten Wilder. He started having a string of bombs, one after another, and he was worried he was going to be a one-hit wonder in Hollywood with Willy Wonka. He knew he had to find his next big juicy role, and fast, or his career could be over. In Hollywood, guys, you're only as good as your last picture. Mel Brooks was working on his next film, Blazing Saddles, when an actor Brooks originally casted in the film fell through. He turned to Wilder for the part, and Wilder jumped at the chance to work with his friend again, also knowing this was going to be a huge hit. And at the last minute, he took the role of Jim, a decision that would ultimately catapult his career even further than he expected. Blazing Saddles was an instant hit, raking in almost $120 million out of its only $2 million budget. This was huge in 1974, especially for a comedy. It's huge now for a comedy. It was also nominated for 3 Academy Awards. It not only blew up Wilder's career even more so, but also that of Mel Brooks, when he was now able to make any film he wanted, and Wilder and Brooks both gained the respect of Hollywood's elite. And then, guys, came a little film. This was a movie where not only Wilder had a strong presence with the script, but there was also so much improv with the movie. It ended up creating just a special movie. The chemistry between all the characters and actors, Wilder understood how special this movie was that he actually asked Mel Brooks not to even appear in the film. Now, this was unusual because Mel Brooks, being an actor himself, has either had a cameo or co-starred in all of his films, except for this one. At first, Mel Brooks was really caught off guard when Gene Wilder asked him not to be in the film. And Wilder explained that having Mel Brooks in the movie would turn the movie into a Mel Brooks movie and would ruin the illusion of the film. Now, guys, I gotta be honest with you. At first, I myself didn't understand what Wilder meant by having his presence would ruin the illusion of the film, until I found this interview with Mel Brooks doing research for this movie where Mel Brooks was asked about this, and Mel Brooks explained what Wilder meant by that. Now, Wilder said to Mel Brooks, "You're always breaking the fourth wall in your movies, and you're always surprising, and there's a lot of anarchy in you. I don't want it to be a crazy comedy. I want it to be a real movie with natural comedy." Again, guys, genius. Gene Wilder knew what this movie had to be, but guys, Mel Brooks being Mel Brooks, he just couldn't fully avoid being out of the movie 100%. He did some off-screen vocal work throughout the film. Watch it next time and see if you can spot and hear which scenes you can hear Mel Brooks' voice off-screen. Now, even though Wilder and Brooks got along like brothers, sometimes they also fought like brothers. One instance was with the famous Putting on the Ritz musical scene. Wilder wrote the scene knowing it would be one of the highlights of the film. However, Brooks was first very resistant to the point where Wilder and Brooks had a huge fight over the scene. Mel Brooks felt that having a scene like that would feel way too modernized and would just feel out of place. He frankly didn't think it would work at all, while Wilder insisted that it would. And it wasn't until Mel Brooks showed the scene to a crowd that Mel Brooks realized he was completely wrong when the audience just howled with laughter. In fact, Brooks said it was the most laughter out of all the scenes in the film.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
I don't have to tell you this, guys. Young Frankenstein to this day has been held as Mel Brooks' best work next to Blazing Saddles. It's ranked in AFI's greatest comedies of all time. Gene Wilder as Young Frankenstein is also ranked as number 9 out of 100 greatest performances of all time. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, won for Best Screenplay, and won 10 other various awards in other medium spectrums, and became Mel Brooks' highest grossing movie of all time. Now guys, during this whole time of Gene Wilder's early film career, for years many fans continually campaigned to see Wilder and Richard Pryor join forces for a movie. And they finally got it when they were both cast in their first film together in 1976's Silver Streak. After which they would star again together in 1980 with Stir Crazy and in 1989's See No Evil, Hear No Evil. And for their last film together, 1991, Another You. To this day, they are beloved and remembered for those two lovable buddies making hilarious movies together. Wilder loved working with Richard Pryor, but also he saw firsthand Richard Pryor's reputation of his lifestyle off camera. And because of this, Wilder refused to hang out with Richard Pryor outside of work. Wilder, being a warm and caring person, did try to help Pryor many times with his drug and alcohol use, with Pryor angrily ignoring Wilder, never recognizing his problem, which at many times really hurt Gene Wilder. Wilder has gone on record as saying that Pryor is a genius and a gifted comedian and is a good man by heart. He goes on to say that, however, Pryor's non-stop heavy drug use and drinking really hurt Wilder on many occasions. Wilder said that it killed him seeing his friend essentially killing himself, and he was a monster when he was on heavy drugs, which is a shame because Pryor had a really very warm heart, is a good man, and he loves people, loves to make people laugh, and loves his family. But yet he just could not abstain from drugs and alcohol. In the interview, Wilder also noted that their differences was, as Wilder was being more of a, I'm here, I'm focused, I'm ready to work, while Pryor had a very loose, laid-back outlook on his work. Yet Wilder also knew that was the charm of their chemistry and their friendship, was the differences there. Richard Pryor's son in an interview said that his father thought the world of Gene Wilder and just loved him on and off the screen. And this was why their next 3 films were so successful. You can completely see they were having just a blast, just a fun time working together. Now, even though Gene Wilder did have a few relationships throughout his career, none was more notable than with his relationship with Gilda Radner, who, if you don't know, was one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live, and again, like Wilder, comedic genius. They were both completely smitten with each other. Wilder was quoted as saying she was the soulmate and the ultimate love of his life. The two loved each other very much, that it was difficult for them to be apart from each other when they both had other projects they were working on. In 1989, Radner was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and passed away. This absolutely crushed Gene Wilder, and he even thought of retiring from acting altogether. Later, Gene Wilder started the Gilda's Club, for a support group for cancer patients in memory and honor of her. In 1991, Wilder married Karen Webb, who he met while doing research for a role. The two hit it off and have been married for 25 years. In the mid-early 90s, Wilder decided to pull the plug as he felt it was the right time to retire from acting and from Hollywood. He just grew sick of Hollywood and the politics.
How do you feel about working in Hollywood?
Yuck. I don't like it.
Why not?
The swearing and the loud, the bombing, and the after a while I said, well, they were dirty, and once in a while a good film, but not very many. I don't mean this when I was just starting out, but later on.
Sure.
But then I didn't want to do the kind of junk that I was seeing. Swearing, so much swearing going on. When they're swearing, I can't say day and night, I could just say most of the screen has got it. Can't they just stop and talk? Just talk instead of swearing.
However, in 1999, Wilder took up a role for an A&E's TV movie called Murder in a Small Town, which became and is still the second highest rated TV movie in A&E. And also in early 2000, Gene Wilder publicly announced that he was diagnosed with lymphoma, which is cancer of the lymph nodes. After treatments of chemo, and also he had stem cell transplants, Wilder's lymphoma went away for good and had no further complications. In 2002, he announced that he was going to completely give up on show business altogether, even TV work. He quoted as saying, "I love the show, but I hate the business. It has completely changed from when I started. It's all about greed and money now, and no longer about substance and the project or the fans." In 2005, he started writing and published his first memoir called Kiss Me Like a Stranger, My Search for Love and Art. After which, Gene Wilder also published 2 novels and also a collection of short stories between 2007 and 2010. Guys, in the late 2000s, Gene Wilder was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and he sadly passed away on August 28, 2016. He died at age 83. Guys, why are we doing this video? It's simple. He is one of our favorite actors. Again, I cannot talk enough about his acting and his writing and his comedy and his drama. He has such a strong presence, and he was very generous and loving as just an all-around good person. I mean, he was beloved by so many people, and because of all these reasons and what we discussed throughout this video, Gene Wilder will always be missed. But guys, we will always have him in film. And that's what's the beauty of film, guys, is that even when these beloved celebrities pass away, they will always be here in film. We can always see and watch them, and that's the beauty of preserving film. Well, guys, it was a long time coming. We've been planning on this video since the report of his death on August 28th of 2016 this year. It's been a couple months since then, but we've just wanted and doing a lot of research about his life and his career, looking up interviews and so on. And hopefully, guys, it will inspire some of you out there that want to be writers, directors, or actors. So guys, we hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Watch out for our 4th episode of our Actor Director Spotlight series. And guys, we're not going to leave you out of this. If you have a celebrity, an actor, a director, a writer, anybody you would like us to talk about and discuss in the Spotlight series, leave your comments down below. And definitely leave your comments about Gene Wilder down below, about his films. Let me know, what is your favorite Gene Wilder performance? What's your favorite movie from Gene Wilder? Let us know down below. Again, guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your support. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out on all these other future videos and content that we have coming up. And guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the future.